Gone Girl is the new drama by David Fincher. So Ben Affleck plays this guy, and he's got this wife, Rosamund Pike, and she goes missing. And the IMDb page says, like, after some investigation, it's suspected he may not be innocent. Like, in the movie, right off the bat, everyone thinks he did it. Right, so the movie's based off the book by Gillian Flynn, and she is involved with the movie a lot, so, you know, dedication to source material and all that. This movie will definitely get some Oscar love. This is a really good movie. I love this movie. It's a very engaging and gripping film. The acting is... It's not like Tarantino good, but it's good. People think Neil Patrick Harris was miscast. I disagree, because I feel like the first time you see him, he's not Neil Patrick Harris at all. He's like this creepy, weird dude. He's like, hey, you know my wife? That's a strange question. Like, did you sleep with my wife? That's a rude question. Not Neil Patrick Harris-y. And I like that. Rosamund Pike is getting a lot of love as the, like a best actress dealism. Her acting is definitely good. I think maybe a bit overrated. I don't think that's what drives this movie home. I think what drives this movie home is just fantastic screenplay. This is such a well-written movie. The story and the narrative is just amazing, because you were like these people are just crazy. They are nuts. It's kind of hard to talk about because like about halfway through the film, a very, very major twist happens that kind of changes the entire film. Like, it takes a completely different direction about halfway through. David Fincher's really good at these kind of very eerie, I want to say haunting, spooky movies. Like, a very, really well-directed, well-written, well-acted, just, like, yeah. And the score is really good. It's very subtle. It's just more like some tones and some like sounds. Occasionally there'll be like a keyboard playing or like some kind of string instrument or something. But it's Atticus Ross, and he did the Book of Eli soundtrack, and I love that movie, so that worked really well. He's really good at those kind of subtle underlying scores. They enhance the film. They don't overtake it. Tyler Perry's in it, and I have never seen anything with Tyler Perry in my whole life. It did not shock me nearly as much as it did everyone else. Like, oh my gosh, Tyler Perry was actually good in the movie. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say, is like Ben Affleck's wife goes missing, like on their anniversary. Like so the cops go into her home, there's signs of a struggle. Like the glass is broken and there's blood everywhere, and you know, they're the cops, they accuse everyone they can. And Ben Affleck, in terms of performance, I think Ben Affleck, he plays Ben Affleck, but he plays Ben Affleck very believably. What I mean by that is, I could totally see Ben Affleck in the situation reacting to these things happening. I think he authentically played himself, I'm gonna say. Yeah. This movie is so good. It's just... I'm not gonna talk about anything, because it's still in theaters. You can probably scramble up and go see it now if you're quick. It came out October 3rd. I saw it like the day it came out with a bunch of seniors. Hello? I think the character who's most fun and most interesting is actually his sister, Margot. She's very outgoing and brash and kind of crude too. She's fun to watch. This movie reminded me a lot of Prisoners in the very dark kind of feel. It had the same feel as Prisoners. It's a completely different director. Like I said, David Fincher. This is a very David Fincher-y film. Like, you've seen The Social Network, or The Zodiac, or actually I just bought Seven. This is another David Fincher film. I have not watched it yet. I hear it's very, very good. I'm excited to watch it. David Fincher is a very, very good director, and I hope he gets some love for this movie. The opening line of the movie is like, oh wow. Like, yeah, that sounds... Okay, what a start to the film. And then I kind of forget about that. At the end you've got it all figured out, you know what happens, and then you're like, wait a minute, but the first line... Oh man, maybe... This movie isn't very violent. There's some heavy subject material discussed in terms of... Yeah, I can't say anything, I'm gonna give everything away. Okay, so there's a very, very violent scene. Like, this movie doesn't have a lot of violence in it, but there's one scene that just comes out of nowhere, and it is awesome. I don't mean that like some kind of creepy dude. Violence can be fun. There's nothing wrong with violence. It was awesome that they did it. Like, I was happy it was happening because it was so shocking and jarring and just out of nowhere. And like, and then the music is playing, and like the the editing that's like kind of flashing in and out, and it's like, oh man, there's blood everywhere, and you're just like, oh man. This is a pretty mature film. A younger friend of mine watched this film, and she's 16, and she was like, this movie made me really uncomfortable. This movie was really, really went farther than it had to. That's much more pertaining to the sexual material and the violence. And I'm like, well, compared to other movies I watched, this is not that bad. But then I'm thinking, like, compared to a completely clean movie, like, yeah, this can be kind of shocking. Like I said, this was intended to be a Christian channel. I haven't really done anything yet. I'll do a talk about sex in movies eventually. But my current thesis is if it's not relevant to the plot, it shouldn't be in the movie. And don't go as far as the rating allows you to, necessarily, either. They do, like, a scavenger hunt on their every anniversary, and the cops are kind of following Ben Affleck around the thing, and it's kind of gross, because there's a lot of, like, sexual stuff in it. Yeah, definitely no going in. I think only one instance of actual, like, explicit nudity. Other than that, it's just sex. It's very, very strong R-rated sex, but it's not, like, I feel like what I'm watching is just horrible now. But whatever. Just know that going in. And in the end, I'm not going to say what happens. I thought something was going to happen, and I wanted it to happen so bad. I'm like, please, please, please. Oh my gosh, because, like, after all that, after everything, you go and do this. And I'm like, if you do what I think you're about to do, this movie gets a 10. But it didn't, and I'm like, no. But it's kind of implied at the end that it could maybe still happen. Do with that what you will. Gone Girl is a amazing movie. You should see it. It's awesome. It gets a... I'll probably do a recent news casting thing for Suicide Squad. Maybe I'll talk about that. But that'll be a really short video, though. Enjoy your... We're in the middle of Thanksgiving and Christmas day, I guess. Bye.